034, State of Texas versus Ernesto Segui. 644464, State versus Jeremiah Santillan. And 660921 and 633233, State versus Kristen Denning, 2 cases. The court will note for the record that the 3 defendants are present, accompanied by their defense counsel, Mr. Ivan Barrero. Before I proceed, I need to remind each of you that you each individually, for any and all cases involved, have certain constitutional rights and protections. They include, first of all, the right to remain silent. That means that you each individually, and Ms. Denning, we're talking about in both cases, have the right to remain silent, meaning you do not have to make any kind of statement, you don't have to answer questions, and you don't have to submit written paperwork, especially papers that admit or confess to wrongdoing. Do you understand you have that right, Mr. Segui?
I understand, Your Honor.
Ms. Denning? You're
Yes.
muted. Thank you. In both cases?
In both
And
cases.
Mr. Santillan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. In addition, each of you has, well, let me ask the 3 of you to raise your right hand. I want to swear you. Do you all each individually solemnly swear that in this proceeding or proceedings, the information and responses you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Ms. Denning? Ms. Denning? Okay, I saw you say yes, but for whatever the reason, I couldn't hear you.
Yes, sir.
There you go. Mr. Santillan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Segui?
I do.
Thank you. All right, now, I mentioned you have the right to remain silent. You also have the right to a jury trial. Each of you has the right to participate in a trial wherein you and your attorney and the state select 6 people to hear the entire proceeding and decide whether you have been proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt or whether you're not guilty. That's called the right to a jury trial. Do you understand you have that right, Mr. Santillan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Segui?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Denning in both cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
You each have the right to confront witnesses. That means that if you go to trial, people will come in and testify. They'll have to. You and your attorney and the state would have the right to question, cross-examine, or challenge any witness who would testify. That's called the right of confrontation of witnesses. Do you understand you have that right, Mr. Segui?
I do.
Ms. Denning
Yes, Your Honor.
in both cases, and Mr. Santillan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Each of you has the right in each case to what's called the right of appeal. That right is somewhat technical and complex, but nonetheless, you individually or your attorney or both of you can demand that a higher court review this entire procedure and the evidence and the results for whatever legal challenges you wanted to make. You'd have to follow both form and substance. You'd have to follow the time limitations and other requirements of that right. Do you understand you have that right, Mr. Santillan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Segui?
Yes, Your Honor.
Pardon me, Mr. Segui, and Ms. Denning on both your cases.
Yes, Your Honor.
Finally, each of you has the right, and now in each case, you and the state have the same right. They have individual rights to demand a open public courtroom hearing. This proceeding could be demanded to be put in the courtroom. Because of the pandemic, we're not doing that. But to proceed, each of you, it's my understanding and I've seen that you have reviewed a document entitled Consent to Video Conference. That is that you're agreeing to do this proceeding as we are doing it on our computers and telephones. Do you understand that you have that right to demand it be done in public, and also that the state does too? You understand you have that right, Mr. Segui,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Santillan,
Yes, Your Honor.
and Ms. Denning in both cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, each of you has reviewed, with the assistance of your attorney, some documents that you have signed. Mr. Segui, did you know, did you read and understand and review with your attorney the documents that you signed regarding this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Santillan, did you review with your attorney and understand the documents in your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Denning, did you do the same thing? That is, you reviewed the documents that you have signed and with your attorney, Mr. Barrera?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Do any of you have any questions about the documents that you have signed?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Now, let's talk about those documents. First of all, I mentioned already, and you have all acknowledged that you have signed the consent to video conference. Did you see also that the state signed a consent to video conference too, in regards to their right to have this matter in open court? Ms. Denning,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Segui,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Santillan.
Yes, Your Honor.
Then you also signed a document, each of you, and Ms. Denning, it applies to both cases, a document entitled Defendant Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Courts Admonitions. That document reviewed the fact that you have been reminded of your constitutional rights and protections. It reminded you that the deal that you make concerning this case is not binding on me as a judge. Those deals that you have made are subject to my approval. I have the authority and responsibility to say yes or no. I also have the authority to give you a punishment within the proper range for each of your case or cases. And I can give you that punishment even if it's greater than what you've agreed to. However, if you're given a punishment that's greater than what you agreed to, or if I reject your deal, any one, whatever, then the law would allow you to start all over, and nothing that you've said or signed up till now would be used against you. Is that understood in both your cases, Ms. Denning?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Segui,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Santillan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, I'm referring again to the document entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Courts Admonition. It says in there what you're charged with, what you're pleading to, and it also has like 15 numbered parts. Do you have any questions about either one of your documents, Ms. Denning,
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Segui,
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Santillan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions about that document?
Oh, no, Your Honor, sir.
All right. Now, you also signed what's called a plea agreement, and it applies to each of you individually. Ms. Denning, it may apply to both your cases. That plea agreement, did you know and understand what it said, Ms. Denning?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have any question?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Segui
Yes, Your Honor. I understand.
and Mr. Santillan?
I understand, Your Honor.
All right. State, are each of the defendants going to get probation?
Yes, Judge, there's 2 deferred probations and 1 straight probation.
All right. Who's going to be the deferred?
It is 572034.
Okay.
And,
Who else?
1 second, Judge. 644464.
And that means Ms. Denning is going to get regular probation?
Yes, Judge.
Is she pleading on both cases?
Just the DWI.
Okay, the other will be TIC?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. All right. Each of you has applied for probation. Generally call it community supervision. What that refers to is that whatever the jail sentence you're going to be given, that will be suspended or probated based on the commitment on each of your parts to live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision. Is that clear, Mr. Segui?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Santillan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Denning?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, I also have to make clear that for those that are going to get deferred adjudication, that is a very beneficial form of community supervision. Specifically, even though you will be entering a plea upon which I could convict you, I will not convict you. What I will do is I will defer or postpone that. And if you each individually live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision, then your particular cases will be dismissed without a finding of guilt, without having been convicted. Do you understand that, Mr. Santillan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Segui?
Yes, Your Honor.
If while you are on deferred adjudication, either of you individually fails or refuses to live up to 100% of the conditions, the state may ask me to send you official notice, bring you in for a hearing. And if I, in my discretion, believe that it is appropriate, I can enter a conviction that follows you the rest of your life. And at that point, you would be looking at 100% of the punishment range for the particular case that you're pleading on. Now, is that clear, Mr. Santillan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Segui?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Denning, in your case, regular probation means that I will be entering a conviction, but I will be suspending the jail. If you live up to your conditions, then you don't see me again and you don't go to jail again on this charge. If you violate those conditions, any of them, the state may ask me to give you notice and bring you in and have a hearing. And at that point, the jail sentence can be, the probation can be revoked and the jail sentence can be imposed. Is that clear, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did each of you carefully read and understand what you were telling me and committing to by signing the application for probation? Ms. Denning,
Yes, Your Honor.
on both cases.
Yes.
Mr. Santillan
Yes, Your Honor.
and Mr. Segui.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did each of you put only true and accurate information in the personal data sheet? Did you fill it out? Mr. Santillan,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Segui,
Yes, Your Honor.
and Ms. Denning.
Yes, Your Honor. All correct.
All right. At this time, then, does the state have a motion on Ernesto Segui?
Yes, Judge. On this one, we would move to add count 2, obstruction, and waive and abandon count 1. Just proceed solely on count 2.
Mr. Barrera, any objection?
No objections, Your Honor.
And you acknowledge that you are waiving the 10-day notice?
I do acknowledge, Your Honor.
Mr. Segui, you are now officially charged with obstruction. Well, is this going to be obstruction or not?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. You're now charged with obstruction of a passageway, highway, or waterway, which is no longer in the DWI category, which is very beneficial to you. Do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes, Your Honor.
To that charge, sir, how do you plead?
Not contest.
A no contest plea is considered a guilty plea in this court. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
and that is sufficient for me to convict you. Is that understood?
Yes, understood.
All right. Based on the agreement that has been reached with the state, I find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I do not. Instead, I am deferring that finding. State, what is the length of deferred adjudication?
Judge, on this one, it is 16 months.
You are granted 16 months deferred adjudication. Your fine is
Yes, sir. It's a $500 fine.
$500. What costs? Talk to me, Ms. Pollard.
Judge, then it's the DWI education, victim impact panel, the TAP evaluation, 60 community service hours, $60 restitution to DPS, and the Smart Start Mobile for 1/2 the term.
All right. Mr. Segui, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Barrera, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Segui, while you're under oath, how do you earn a living, sir?
I'm a truck driver
For whom?
for myself and my company.
And what kind of income do you make, sir? Reminding you that you're under oath.
Yeah, I make $2,000, around $2,000 a week.
A week?
Yes, sir.
How many children do you support?
3. Well, actually 2. I just expecting another one.
How old are the children?
I got an 8 and 2. And my wife.
Okay. Does your wife do any work outside the home?
No, Your Honor.
All right. I will remind you, because of what I'm going to do, I will remind you that now the 8,000, is that net or gross?
It's a gross,
So what is your net pretty well, mostly?
probably around 1,200.
A week?
Yes.
So you're up around close to 4,000 a month net. All
Yes,
right.
Your
Okay. I'm going to change your fine from 500. I'm going to make it 800. Knowing and understanding that by doing so, I am giving you a punishment that's greater than what you agreed to. And if you choose, you can start all over again. Do you understand that?
Yes, I understand.
And do you want to go ahead and start all over, or are you going to accept the increase in the fine?
No, I accept it.
All right. The 60 hours community service is accepted. Your supervisory fee will be $47 a month. Do you have any questions, sir?
No, I don't.
Before you leave, 2 things. I will want you to stick around and meet with Ms. Maricela Luna. You see her on the screen as M. Luna CLO. She is our court liaison officer. She's going to put all 3 of you on the road to probation. By the way, probation will read to you, each of you, the conditions of supervision. Because I've been telling you, you're going to have to live up to 100% of the conditions. You will live up to those conditions. They will be read to you. You will sign them. They'll put a copy in your hands. Is that clear?
Yeah, clear.
All right. Any questions, Mr. Segui?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Barrera, in reference to Mr. Segui?
No, Judge, just one thing. My client did want to make a donation in lieu of the community service hours.
All right. I'll authorize donation. My preference is to the Gabriel Project. You have the option, if you choose, Mr. Segui, instead to donate to the San Antonio Food Bank. But I've already expressed my preference. Now, you will make the donation of any and all hours that you choose to do at $12 an hour. Is that clear?
Yes,
Mr. Segui,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Barrera?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Stick around, Mr. Segui. Mr. Segui.
Yes, Your Honor.
I want to remind the three of you, the worst thing that can happen in your life is that you're out drinking and driving and you kill a member of your own family. And if you look at the newspapers and the TV, it happens. So please understand that our laws are there to protect not only you, but the community in general. The second worst thing could happen to you is that you drink and drive and kill some innocent person, a child or an old man like me. Are you hearing what I'm saying?
Yes, Your Honor.
Keep that in mind, sir. All right, now,
Your Honor.
yes,
Did you want me to go ahead and place Ms. Luna and Mr. Segui in a breakout room?
if they would like to start at this point, or they can all wait and do it, three of them together. Ms. Luna, what is your preference?
It doesn't matter to me, Judge, whatever's.
All right, then, Ms. Garcia, go ahead and put Mr. Segui in there while I finish with
Judge.
Mr. Santillan.
Judge.
Yes,
Real quick, Judge, before he leaves, I did want to mention that my client, he is not a U.S. citizen, but he did obtain a FADIA letter.
okay, very much, very, very important. Thank you. Please, Ms. Garcia,
Yes,
I
sir.
believe that the plea papers, I may have marked that he is a U.S. citizen. Make sure that we note in there that accurately, not only that he is not a U.S. citizen, but that the Padilla versus Kentucky requirements have been met.
Yes, sir.
And thank you, Mr. Barrera, for pointing that out. It is critical.
Yes, Judge. I'll make sure to file that FADIA letter.
Do you
Very
need the
good.
name of the attorney that he spoke to, Judge?
Usually we do, but that'll be in the Padilla, the letter that he's referring to, Mr. Barrera.
Okay.
Mr. Barrera, who is the attorney?
It's Alberto Virgin.
Alberto,
Yeah, the Virgin and Virgin firm.
Virgin?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Segui. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Santillan,
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Pollard, tell me about what we're doing with Mr. Santillan. His plea is going to be,
I'm assuming no contest, Ivan. I'm sorry, what? I said it's okay if I look for.
That's correct, yes.
no contact, no, I'm sorry, no contest. And is there a motion by the state?
Yes, Judge, on this one, we're moving to waive and abandon count 1 and proceed solely on count 2.
Which is obstruction.
Yes, Judge.
And no objections, Your Honor.
Very good. No objection from defense. The motion is granted. Mr. Santillan, to the charge of obstruction of a passageway, highway, or waterway, how do you plead, sir?
No contest, Your Honor.
All right. The court accepts your plea of no contest. I remind you that a plea of no contest is considered a guilty plea and is sufficient for me to find you guilty. Is that understood?
Understood, Your Honor.
All right. Based on your agreement with the state, I will honor that agreement. I find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I do not. Instead, I am granting you deferred adjudication. Ms. Pollard, how long?
Judge, this is for 14 months.
14 months. Oh, you know what? On Mr. Segui, is he, we need to double check on him. Why is it that he is on the Smart Start Mobile and not on,
Yes, Judge. Yeah, you want me to address that now?
yes, sir.
Judge, so he operates multiple vehicles and multiple people operate his vehicle. And so I kind of explained to Ms. Paula that it would be financially, it wouldn't make sense to put ignition interlocks on all his vehicles. And then people wouldn't be able to drive his vehicle because he loans it out as to other truck drivers. So we felt that the
Okay.
Smart Start Mobile was
On his personal
best option.
vehicle. That's
That's
on his
correct.
personal vehicle. Just make sure that he knows and understands two other things. He's got to go by the office and put his thumbprint on the materials. I forgot to remind him of that. Also, if he violates any of these conditions, especially since he's a smart start, he's going to find himself with a very real possibility that I'll put ignition interlock on every vehicle to which he has access, which
Understood,
the
Your
law
Honor.
permits. And if he's got 10 of them, I'll have him do 10, so long as he doesn't step out of line, okay?
Understood, Your Honor. I'll let him know.
All right. I'm sorry, going back to Mr. Santillan. You are granted deferred adjudication for 14 months. The fine is, Ms. Pollard,
It's $500.
court costs,
And then the DWI education, victim impact panel, TAP evaluation, 48 community service hours, and the ignition interlock for half the term.
which is 7 months minimum.
Correct.
Mr. Santillan, you understand this to be your agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Barrera, is that y'all's agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
All right, the court approves that agreement, basically. I need to find out how you make a living, Mr. Santillan.
Your Honor, I'm a bartender at Smoke Barbecue Skybar.
Okay? Tell me what is your income, not your hourly wage, but your income.
My income a week, it ranges because my life's based on tips, so it's going to be anywhere from $600 to $500 a week.
Okay. So you're bumping up against $3,000 a month. Do you have children that you support?
Yes, Your Honor, I have 3.
Their ages?
10, 2, and 8 months.
Little rascal, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right. You heard what I had to say to Mr. Segui about drinking and driving in your family, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
I want to remind you of that because I know you love your children. We all love our children.
Absolutely.
Yet people get out there and drink and drive and kill them.
Absolutely.
Be aware. All right. I will accept the agreement. Your fine is $500 plus court costs. You'll perform the DWI education, the victim impact plan, all of that agreement that you have, that's been recited by the state to which you acknowledged. Your ignition interlock will be for a minimum of 7 months. Step out of line, you'll find yourself in a lot of trouble. The supervisory fee will be $29 a month. And are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. The papers will so note. And you will also meet with Ms. Luna or together with whoever, but you'll need to get with Ms. Luna. You'll have to go in to the office of County Court 5 and have your thumbprint placed on the documents. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, sir. Good luck to you. Ms. Denning.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Judge, I
Yes, sir.
just have a couple of things, Your Honor. On the plea agreement, it states, and I didn't talk, I guess I didn't confer with the state on this, but it says that he will not be able to apply for a non-disclosure. And I wanted to address that with the state, if that's still the recommendation.
Ms. Pollard.
It is, that's a standard for the obstruction offers.
Okay, understood.
Anything else, Mr. Barrera?
Yes, Judge, just two more things. My client would also like to make a donation in lieu of physically completing the community service hours.
All right. I will ask that the donation be made to the Gabriel Project as my preference, or to the San Antonio Food Bank. You will make donations at the rate of $8 an hour, sir, for any and all hours that you choose to do so. All righty. Is that understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
And Judge, just one last thing, I apologize. My client, he is a bartender, Judge. Would he be able to still continue with that job? He has put in his 2 weeks notice because I told him that there's a chance that probation might not let him continue to work. And
It's not up to probation. It's not up to probation to decide whether he continues to work or not.
Okay.
If you have options, Mr. Santillan, I highly suggest that you use those options. If, in good faith, the only way you can make a good living or a living at the level at which you're at is to work where you're at, that's one thing, but do keep in mind, you know what you're doing as a bartender. You handle a lot of liquor, and it's obviously the temptation is there if you're given to temptations of alcohol, but nonetheless, it is a perilous path that you're on. Is that understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm not going to order that you cannot work there because I don't think it's appropriate for me to make that order. However, it is an order that I can make. And if you don't live up to 100% of the conditions, you'll find that you'll be facing an order of that nature. Is that understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Barrera?
That's it, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Denning. State, do we have any motions on Ms. Denning?
Judge, on this one, we are waiving the second enhancement and proceeding as a DWI first. I believe. Yes, that's correct.
All right, to which she's going to plead no contest.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And then the TIC 633233 is part of this.
Yes, Judge.
All right. Ms. Denning, you particularly give the court worry because you've got 2 DWIs now. You're not being punished under the DWI second category, but you have a second DWI on your record. That's serious stuff, very serious stuff. And do you have children?
Yes, Your Honor.
How many do you have?
I have 3 as well.
What are their ages?
16, 12, and 4.
Among the things that I need to say to you, ma'am, is that our children depend on us for love and care and guidance. And part of that guidance is the example that we give, good or bad. The three of you have shown some very bad example. And the three of you constitute a danger to your children. I expect that I don't need to say a whole heck of a lot about that.
So, Your Honor.
I need you to understand that, man. The statistics tell us as judges that for each DWI that you actually got caught, there's 8 to 10 that you actually did not get caught. But that at least technically you were probably intoxicated and driving. It may have been that the children were with you, may have been not. But the danger is there. Now, to the charge of DWI, misdemeanor B, how do you plead, ma'am?
No contest.
A no contest plea is considered a guilty plea by the court and is sufficient for me to convict you. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Based on your plea and the evidence, I find you guilty. What is your source of income or your source of support?
I work full-time now
Where do you work, man?
at a car dealership as a finance manager.
And what do you earn on a regular basis?
About $5,000 a month.
Mr. Barrera, have you informed your client of our wonderful state's fine that's added on to the punishments on these matters?
Yes, Your Honor.
You know she's going to be looking at a very stiff fine from the state, because under the circumstances, I cannot find that she is indigent. Do you have significant expenses, Ms. Denning?
I'm a single mom, so I pay all the expenses, and I don't get money from their father.
Is it one father or more than one father?
It's two. My boys are from my first husband, and my little girl is from a previous relationship.
And neither of the two is providing support?
The first one, he's remarried. They come very, very second to
Well, you know, the fact that he's remarried does not excuse him from the obligation to provide at least a minimum of support for the child.
I don't feel comfortable having them go to his house. That's why I don't push it, because my boys have expressed that they are treated very badly when they go over there. So I don't push it because I don't want them to be able to go over there.
I want you to give serious thought to one thing. Every penny, every dollar in child support that you allow that fellow not to pay, you're allowing him to steal from your own child. Now, the issues about mistreatment of the children or child is, how many is he the father of how many?
Yeah.
Pardon me? For your children, huh? Two of them?
My two boys, my two oldest are his.
Okay. If he mistreats them, there's a lot of ways to take care of that, especially since they're not little bitty ones that they cannot talk and complain. If he mistreats them, talk to the Attorney General or get a good lawyer and take care of that, because they don't have to put up with that kind of crap. But I would suggest to you very strongly that you either get a private lawyer or that you go to the Attorney General's office and hit him for child support. And if he tries to retaliate by mistreating the children, I'm telling you that the judges will slam him around like a basketball. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
There's no reason, no excuse for him not providing some support. And as far as his behavior with the children, that can be controlled, I guarantee you. Either that or he can be denied visitation if he's really bad to him. Anyway, I'm going to ask you, I'm not going to order you to see the Attorney General. I frequently do that, but I'm not going to. I would highly recommend that you do that because if nothing else, for the few years that he will provide some support, you can either put it aside for school or if the kids want to do it, buy a car or something. But there's no reason why he should be getting away with this. All right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Then the supervisory fee in your case will be $47 a month. The other recitations by the state, what was the fine? Ms. Pollard?
Judge, on this one, the fine was $500.
Court costs. Give me the rest of that.
It was 180 days Bear County Jail probated over 16 months, 60 community service hours, DWI intervention, victim impact panel live, TAP evaluation, ignition interlock for half the term, a gun safety course, forfeiture of the weapon, and we are taking into consideration case number 633233.
All right. Ms. Denning, what kind of weapon was that?
I'm sorry?
What kind of weapon was that? The pistol or firearm?
It was a pistol, yes.
Ma'am,
It was a pistol,
I understand that. What kind was it?
9mm.
Okay, that's what it is. What kind? What is the brand?
I am not 100% on what the brand was.
All right. Did you hear the recitation from the state on what the agreement is?
Yes, Your Honor.
You agree with that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Barrera?
It is, Your Honor.
I've been a sportsman for many years. I hate to see the destruction of a weapon. Where did you get that, ma'am?
My uncle gave it to me for Christmas a couple years back.
I'm going to deny the destruction of the weapon or the forfeiture. I'm going to order that Mr. Barrera returns that pistol to the uncle with the understanding and the order that he is not at any time to return that pistol to Ms. Denning. Is that understood?
That's understood, Your Honor.
All right. Do you understand that you're not to take that pistol back, Ms. Denning?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
I don't want to see the destruction of it. If he was kind enough to give it to you, at least he can have it and make use of it. All the other conditions I approve them. I'm tempted to give you a heavier fine, but since you're not getting any kind of help on the child support at this time, I will honor the $500 fine plus court costs and the other conditions. The court also takes into consideration and dismisses case number 633233. Questions, Ms. Denning?
No, Your Honor.
Let me highly recommend that you make one choice. Is drinking more important than your children? You make that choice. All right. then I'll want you to meet with Ms. Maricela Luna. I want you to come into the office and put your thumbprint on the documents as required by law.
Yes.
All right. Any questions, Mr. Barrera?
No, Judge, just one thing. She also wanted to make a donation in lieu of the service hours.
All right, once again, I will authorize donation in lieu. I prefer the donation go to the Gabriel Project. You have the option to donate to the San Antonio Food Bank. In your case, the rate per hour will be $12 per hour for any and all of the hours you wish to donate. Any other questions?
Oh, Your Honor.
All right, then this concludes this particular set of this docket actually for this morning.
Judge, are the clerks gonna need the name of the person that the weapon is getting?
That might be a good idea. Ms. Denning, what is the name of your uncle?
It would be Dwayne
Dwayne,
Nichols.
Nichols?
Yes.
All right. That is the order of the court, that it be returned to that gentleman, not to be at any time placed in your possession or returned to your ownership.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Barrera, the court will expect you to carry that out.
Understood, Judge, will do.
All righty. Please meet with Ms. Luna, and that should be it for